Okay. A good Chodesh, everyone. A good Chodesh, a good Yor. Today is Rosh Chodesh. Tonight is Rosh Chodesh of, and it's the yard site of Aaron HaKohen. It's Parshas Matos and Masei, yeah. And a lot of discourses in Likutei Torah. Or you have two parshas. I was actually preparing another one, but I was still a little jet lag, so I didn't really. So then I saw this mimer just 10 minutes ago, and I said, this one talks about Aaron HaKohen, and tonight is Aaron HaKohen's yard site. So we're going to learn a discourse that is completely unprepared. When I say unprepared, it means I didn't even read it once. So I'm going to have to remember it from when I was still in the womb. Not bad, right? We learned the whole Torah in the womb, right? That's good. All right. So here we go. In the borders of Eretz Yisroel, in today's Chitas, actually today's Chumash, we learn the borders of the land. What is going to be the Torah very clearly specifies exactly the borders of Eretz Yisroel. So there's two psukim over here. When you're coming from the north of Eretz Yisroel, and we're going down the eastern flank, it's describing from the northeast corner to the southeast corner. So you're going to go now. The Torah describes the entire eastern side of Eretz Yisroel. That's the last and final border that the Torah is describing, the east side. It begins first with the southern border, then it goes up on the western border, which is the Mediterranean mainly. Then it describes the northern border, and then the last psukim are describing the eastern border. So the pasuk says, "Vayered Hagvul." This is in pasuk Yud Aleph, in Perek Lamed Daled. It says, "Vayered Hagvul." The Gvul will descend, the border will descend. Mishfam, from Shfam, Harivla to Rivla. Over here you can see the picture. You don't have the picture in front of you, but Shfam it's coming down. It's going downward. When we say down, we mean we're coming down south. We're going from north. North is always considered higher up. South is down. So we are moving in southern direction, so we're going down, like you say, going down to San Diego. We're going up to San Francisco, okay? So you're going down. So we're coming down from Shfam to Rivla, Mikedem la'ayin, which is to the east of Ayin, of a place called Ayin, which means that, I'll be pashtus, the simple meaning is that Rivla, this place called Rivla, is to the east side of Ayin. According to that, Ayin is a place. Ayin actually means an eye, but over here it means it's to the east of a place called Ayin. Then, Vayered Hagvul, then the Gvul, the border, continues going down south. Umacha al Ketef Yam Kineres, and it hits, and Macha means lashon of like hitting. It hits Al Ketef Yam Kineres to the eastern Kedma, to the eastern shore of the Kinneret. The Kinneret sea. The Kinneret in Eretz Yisrael is like a sea, right? So it is a sea. So meaning the eastern border, that means the entire Kinneret is inside Eretz Yisrael. The Kinneret is the eastern shore. We're going on the outside of the Kinneret. The eastern side of the Kinneret is already over there, is already not Eretz Yisrael. That would be already the other side. Okay. That's what it says. Machal kesef yan Kinneret. Then it says Vayered Hagvul. Then the border continues going down, Hayerdena, and it follows the Jordan River, because from the Kinneret runs the Jordan. The Jordan follows out of the Kinneret, going downward. And it goes from the Kinneret to the Dead Sea. The Yarden goes from the Kinneret, it goes further too, but this is the path of the river, from the Kinneret to the Dead Sea. So that too is the border of Eretz Yisrael. You're following the Jordan River from the Kinneret, down, down, down. That's what it says, Vayered Hagvul, the Gvul goes down, HaYardena to the Yarden, V'hayatoitza Oisav, and then its end will be Yam HaMelech, the Yam HaMelech, the Salt Sea. And that brings you to the bottom of Eretz Yisrael, the end of the Yam, the Dead Sea. Kind of over there is you get back basically to the place you started, which the Psukim earlier started making the Gvul. Zois tiyeh lechem ha'aretz, there should be to you the land, l'gvul eiseh, to its border, saviv harel. So the Alter Rebbe is going to give us the deeper inside perspective on this eastern border of Eretz Yisrael. I don't think he touches the rest of it, but he just gives us insight into this. Again, because I didn't learn the Maimer yet, I don't know, but just from reading just the beginning of it, that's what it seems. Okay, let's read. Vayered ad hagvul, the Gvul will continue down. Now it's interesting, he skips 2 words over here. Vayered ad hagvul, here it says mishvam harivla. Then, actually, mikedem la'ayin, 4 words. And then it says Vayered ad hagvul. No, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. He's actually referring to the second Vayered ad hagvul. Because it's strange that the Alter Rebbe wouldn't say V'goymer. Okay, so I figured something is wrong. Here it says Vayered hagvul mishvam harivla mikedem la'ayin. That's half of the pasuk. Second half of the pasuk, he's referring to the second half of the pasuk. Vayered hagvul umacha al kesef yam kineres kedma. Okay, so Vayered hagvul umacha al kesef yam kineres kedma, and the border goes down and it hits the eastern side of the Kinneret, kedma to the east. And then it says in the next pasuk what? Vayered hagvul hayerdena, and the Gvul continues going down, following the Jordan River. So first the Alter Rebbe explains what is the Jordan River in Ruchnias. Physically, we know what the Jordan River. It's a river. But what is the spiritual meaning? Everything in Israel everything in the world has spiritual meaning. How much more so in the land of Israel, how every little inch of land has tremendous spiritual quality and uniqueness of that particular piece of land. So hine b'chenes Yarden. Now the Yarden, huzeh, the idea of the Yarden is Kamayim Razal. What Chazal say, shenoitel mizeh v'noisel mizeh. The Yarden takes from one place and delivers in the other place. Exactly in what reference the Gemara says that it takes from one place, that's what's called Yarden. It's noitel mizeh, and it's noitel mizeh, and so I don't even know where that phrase comes from. Let's put in a little Google search over here, and we'll see exactly. Yarden, noitel mizeh, noitel mizeh. What is the lashon? Noitel mizeh v'noisen lezeh. V'noisen lezeh. Let's see where that comes from. It's interesting. He's bringing this. It brings only the Chassidus. It's not bringing the initial place where it says that. Maybe it says it in the back over here. I just wanted, it's not Negeya so much over here, I just wanted to see the simple meaning. Oh, Belakuti Torah Ma'arizal, Seif Parsha Shoif, Timbetam Mitzvah Mitzvah Orim Miklot, Va'ayim Baba Mitzia. Maybe it's a Masechtas Baba Mitzia Chav Beis. Okay, Ayin El Shalach. Okay, we'd have to look that up another time. Anyways, the Yarden takes from one and puts somewhere else. So what does that mean? What does it mean spiritually? Pidish, hu inyan halam al matalamayla. That idea that the Yarden is taking from one side and putting on the other side. Again, I don't know the simple meaning of that, but whatever that means, it's taking from one place and putting in the other place. Beruchnius inyanim, it means the Yarden is a powerful transformer. What is it doing? It's taking from the side of the unholy and it brings to the holy. The Yarden is the converter. That's what we can understand. It's at the border of Eretz Yisrael. It converts from the unholy, and it moves it to the holy. What does that mean? Hu inyan halo milmata lamayla. This is the idea we always speak about raising sparks, raising things up, which means initially the object, the entity, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's any other physical phenomenon, it first exists in the low realm detached from Hashem. That means it first exists in the world of Klippa, whether Klippa, generally we say Klippas Noga, Klippa, 3 impure Klippas we can't touch, but it belongs to the Klippa. And when after a Jew uses it, what is a Jew supposed to do with it? Make a bracha, use it for the right purposes, and then you elevate it from the lower place and you bring it into a higher place. You bring it into Tzad HaKadosh. So that's the inyan of the Yarden. The inyan of the Yarden is, the Jordan is its noitel mizeh, it takes from here, the noisel mizeh. Pidish, inyan Allah, this is the idea of Allah, raising things up. Lahalois, to bring things up, mahashvira, from that which is broken, mishiyude malachim detoyu, from the leftover remnants from the world, from the kings of Toyo. As we learned many times, the Nitzutze Kedusha, the sparks of holiness, how are there sparks of holiness that are down, scattered in the world? Where do these sparks come from? So we learned there was a primordial world called Olam HaToyu. It was a very, very, very intense, holy existence. The energy, however, was too intense for the vessels. The vessels broke, and those shards, and then the sparks, the shards of these vessels, they are called, these are these Nitzutze Kedusha, these sparks related to these shards from the world of Toyu that have fallen. And they have fallen into a Klippadig state. Once they've collapsed, they've materialized as something unholy, as something ungodly. Powerful godly potential. Now, they're also referred to the world of Toyu, where these sparks once belonged to, when they were still in holiness, were called the holy kings, the ancient kings of Toyu. They were kings because each one couldn't get along with the other. As a king, each one is like a king, and like you see now, Trump is fighting with everybody. He goes to Europe, he fights with, today he got into a fight with May, he gets into a fight with everybody. It's kings. It's I have to have it my way, okay? Fully aggressive. So that's the way it was in Olam HaToyu, where the spheres couldn't get along with each other because it's the idea of kings. So these sparks of holiness have fallen down, as he uses the term over here, Mishiyare Malachim Detoyu. These are from the leftover remnants of the kings of Toyu. Shaloin is Bararu, that were not yet fixed. Because we know that initially, we're always told that we have to clean up the mess. Which mess do we have to clean up? The mess of Shviras HaKelim. Shattering of the vessels, sparks fell all over. Our avoid is to elevate the spark. What we don't realize is that 90% or 95% of those sparks were already elevated. When? Not by us. By the initial process of creation, Hashem already fixed 95% of the mess. He left over a tiny little bit that still needs to be rectified. So that's what he's saying over here. Shaloin is bararu. There's still some leftover sparks of holiness that are not yet in a state of birur. They haven't yet had their birur yet, their refinement yet. And that's our avodah to elevate them. The Yarden is noitel mizeh v'noisen mizeh. It takes from here, from the side that's unholy, and it places it in the side of Kedusha. So, Shiurid Malachim, the Toyer Shaloin is Bararu, Shehu Inyan Klipas Noiga. That's Klipas Noiga. Klipas Noiga is a Klipa, which in that Klipa it's deposited, the glowing shell. Within it is deposited these sparks of holiness. We need to extract these sparks and reunite them with Kedusha. How do you do that? Lahafcham l'kedusha, to transform them to holiness. Dahainu. What is that? Hazayin midois shanaflu b'klipas. Now, what did we say earlier? How did these sparks fall in the first place? It was from the intense kings of the world of Toyu. Now those kings are many times referred to as the seven emotions. It says that in the Chabad of Toyu, in the Chachma Bin Adas of Toyu, there wasn't really a shvira. The Moichin were not of impact. The Moichin remained intact. It was the Zayin Tatan, it was the 7 lower spherois of the world of Toyu, of the world of chaos. They fell. That's the Zayin Midos. When they fall into Klipas Noiga. Our avoid is to fix them. And what does that mean? We have to encounter these 7 midos in an unholy way. For instance, where do we encounter these 7 midos in an unholy way? Our nefesh bahamas, our animal soul, is an impulsive being, and it has all these midos, unrectified midos. It has a power of chesed, of love, of attraction, but it's a misguided attraction. It's a midah that is not healthy. It's an unhealthy midah. It's lost. It's misguided. It's an emotion in the wrong place. And what's our avodah? Our avodah is to take that emotion and direct it, to educate our animal soul, to influence our emotions, to enlighten our emotions, that our emotions should change, and we should bring some sophistication to our emotions. They should desire, for example, that love should be holy love. I should love the proper things. And the same is also my sense of fear or my sense of discipline should be rectified, and it should be holy discipline. And so is in each of these 7 emotions. That's the avodah. So azay yenamido is the 7 midos. Azay yenamido is the 7 midos shenaflu b'klipos that fell into the klipos. Cham uknan. So who's the ancestor of the seven? Now here's the thing: a major deposit of these sparks of holiness. Where are they? Mainly, they're scattered amongst the 70 nations. 70 nations are related to these 7 midos. 10 of each of the 70 nations are manifestations. Each one of each culture has its energy, but its energy that's corrupted and needs to be rectified. The Jewish people are from the world of tikkun, where our neshamas, at least, our higher part, our godlier part, is fully cognizant, it's fully aware, it's fully attached towards the emes of godliness, emes of elukus, and our avodah is to enlighten the 70 nations. So these 70 nations contain all these sparks. But the root of these 70 nations are who? The 7 nations who lived in the land of Canaan. So when the Jewish people had to conquer the land of Canaan, it wasn't just conquering the land of Canaan, it was conquering the 7 nations that are there. What does it mean spiritually? It was engaging these 7 emotions as represented by these 7 nations and working on transforming them. So really conquering the land was not just a physical battle. It was primarily an internal battle within the Jewish soul. A Yid had to fight within himself all negative emotions, all misguided emotions. By fixing it within, it was automatically fixed without. So these are the 7 nations. Now these 7 nations are really all descendants who lived in Eretz Yisrael, are descendants of Canaan. And who's Canaan's father? Cham. That tells you that most of the sparks of holiness fell into Cham. Cham needs rectification. That's why we find from the 3 brothers, Shem, Cham, and Yafes, the one who's misbehaving is Cham. Because Cham needs a tikkun. Shem and Yafes are partially already nistakin. They have already a tikkun already there. They're born kind of fixed. But Cham needs serious rehabilitation. So, and that's why, where do the Jewish people, which land do we conquer? It's the land of Cham. Eretz Canaan. Canaan is a Dafke Canaan. Now Cham, he says, indicates that. Because the word Cham comes from the word Chamimus. And Chamimus means heat. That Cham has a lot of energy. That's why he's hot. He's heated up. He's got a tremendous deposit of powerful spiritual energies, but it's corrupted. It's in the wrong thing because it comes from Shviras HaKelim, from the shattered vessels. So we have to enter into the land of the Chamites and do a tikkun over there. By doing what? By taking these midos bit by bit and transforming them to Kedusha. And that's the work of the Yarden. The Yarden takes mizeh, the noisan lezeh. Where is the Yarden? On the side of the land of Canaan, which is the land of Chum. That's where the Yarden is operating. The Yarden is sitting over there and fishing out the fish, the sparks, and transforming them to holiness, elevating. So Hainu Azaya Midah Shenaflu B'Klipas Chum, that have fallen in the Klip of Chum, Uknan and Knan. Chamimus, which is the idea of heat. Shoirish Azaya Midas Roi Sheberetz Knan. Chum, the heat, is the root of all 7 midos that in the land. In general, we know that even though there is one particular emotion that's called hot, which is gevura is hot, but in general, b'chlal, emotions are heated. A person who's responding emotionally, not intellectually, that's a hothead. Someone whose everything is like thought out, that's intellectually. Right? Intellect is calm. Emotions are always. So Cham represents all the 7 emotions. You see that his children are the 7 nations who lived in the land of Canaan, the 7 midas. But here is the nekuda. The point over here is not to take some kind of a anti-inflammation or anti. I'm looking for what do you spray on a fire? Yeah, but what is that called? Could be something like that. It's not to dose the fire; it's to direct the fire. It's not that we want to get rid of the chamimus. We don't want to destroy those sparks. We just want to direct it, and that's the idea. Gufa, to take from the very, very heat and fire of the land of Canaan, which is the land of our nefesh Bahamas, of our animal soul, land of klipa de heat, and take that very heat and do with it what with it to turn it into rishpeha rishpeish, to turn it into flames of fire towards God. Hislavus halev, that the heart goes ablaze, la'avodas Hashem, to the service of the Eibishter. And as Chassidus explains to us in many places, that our neshama is more of a reflective being. Our neshama is more of an intellectual being. Generally, the world of tikkun is dominated by intellect, by knowledge. And therefore, even though there is emotion in the world of tikkun, it's emotion that is very, 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 very intellectual. And therefore, the emotions are not as fiery. The animal soul is primarily an emotional being. Because in the world of Toyu, the emotions were very strong. In Tikkun is dominated by intellect. Emotions in the world of Toyu is very strong emotion. And that's the milah of harnessing our animal soul. If we can get our animal soul to join along in our avodas Hashem and our connection to God, then our passion towards Hashem increases tenfold or even more. Because the animal soul dafka has a fire that the neshama doesn't have. And that's what he's saying. Gufa, to take the very heat of the nefesh Bahamas and do with it what? To fire up the fire and the flames of love to service of Hashem. So now we understand the Yarden. What's the Yarden? Shenoitul mizeh v'noisen lezeh. It takes from here, from the unholy, and it puts it into Kedusha. Milmata lamayla, which is the avodah from below up. Because you're taking something that is in a lower state, in an unholy state, distant from God, unaware of Hashem. It's like a korban. You're elevating. The animal had heat, but the heat of the animal was towards its own taivas, towards its own desires and wants. And you're directing that animal heat, turning it into a fire on the Mizbeach, in which the fire on the Mizbeach means a yearning towards a desire to be included in godliness. It's mamish this idea. So, and this is called the Yisroel from below. And this is called the world, Shuvav Ktzaves, which means that this kind of a love is considered, in Chassidus, when we speak about the love that comes from below, it's called avas olam. It's called a love coming from olam, coming from the world. It's when worldly things turn around and are directed towards godliness. The thing about this type of an avoda that's coming from the world, in other words, where we're excavating sparks of holiness and directing it towards God, this avoda is not consistent. This avoda, automatically you're going to have ups and downs. Why? Because you're constantly moving in various different aspects of the world, and some things give easier a way to godliness and transfer themselves to godliness without such a fight, and other things are more resistant. So therefore you find yourself that when you're dealing with worldly things, trying to convert the worldly things to holiness, you're not going to have that constant consistency and so on and so forth, because it depends on the chicken you ate yesterday. Some chickens allow themselves easier to become holiness, and some chickens put up a bigger fight. So therefore it depends, right? So some days your davening shachris is going to be with more fervent, because your chicken you ate last night is more of a supporter of godliness. He's less of a fighter. And sometimes you're having a hard time, because the chicken latzach nicht. He doesn't allow himself. He wants to remain a chicken. He wants to remain in the world of chickens. Doesn't want to become a fighter towards God. So it will depend. It changes. By the way, this concept is what I discussed today in an earlier share, the difference between matais and masei. Matais, the Rebbe says, means firm, strong, is referring to the firmness of your neshama. Your neshama is firm, strong, stubborn, this is the way it is. That's where the avodah comes, that non-changing. There's another avodah called Masei. Masei is you go from place to place to place, and you're seeking to draw godliness out from the place itself. That is constantly changing. That's not consistent. There is a change. There's ups and downs and so on and so forth. Stubbornness of the neshama, that's consistent. And that's coming from, that's matais. That's masei. It's interesting. He's not making reference to that over here, but this is the idea. This idea, u'ba'avoida zu, and this avoida, muchrich liyashinuyim, there has to be changes. Machma shinui dvarim atachtayim, because of the various different things that you're dealing with. Certain things, the way they convert it to holiness is different. Vinyanai gufniyim, and the physical things, achila shtia, eating and drinking. So we know that since you're taking the gashmias and you're converting it, first of all physical things are different. And therefore that's going to result in a different kind of a birur in terms of the intensity of it, the resistance it's going to fight it, the klipa that's there, how tough it is, and so on and so forth. But then he says, "V'yesh oid b'chenes avoda." There's another kind of avoda. L'mayla mazeh. It's interesting that he says midvarim tachtainim. I don't know what he means with midvarim tachtainim. Maybe that's why he puts it in parentheses, that it's not. You would think that this avoda that he's referring to now is not midvarim tachtainim. But let's leave that for a moment. L'mayla mazeh, which is higher, v'nikra avarabba, and that is called great love. She'ein noy tzarich shetilakach ava midvarim tachtainim. You're not trying to squeeze out the love from the physical food, right? From the food that you're eating, or the physical things that you've used l'avodas Hashem, and have them bring you to love. That's called avas olam. But there's a different type of love called ava rabba. Avas olam is love taken from the world, from the sparks of holiness that are within the world. Ava rabba is love being channeled from above. Primarily, it's the love innately embedded in your neshama. And your neshama is a heavenly being, or even deeper than that. There are certain spiritual lifelines, there are certain spiritual channels that are continuously channeling love down to your soul. Primarily, Aaron HaKohen, whose yahrzeit is right now, as we're learning. He is a channel to channel love. And that love is not coming from the world, that love is coming from heaven. That loving is coming directly from Hashem, who's directing love towards us. That's consistent. The reason why it's consistent is because God is consistent. Since it's coming from God, it's consistent. So it's a constant thing, it doesn't change. It's possible that we're not tuning into it, that you say, if it's always, then why? Yeah, of course it's possible. We don't necessarily always tune into it. But mitzad, the love itself, it's a consistent love. When the previous love that we're talking about earlier that comes from the world, that love, it itself is a changing love. Because you're pulling it from the world. And the manner in which everything in this world connects to godliness is different. Some things have a larger spark, some things have a smaller spark. Some things have a larger klipa, something has a lesser klipa, a thicker klipa, so on and so forth. You have all the variations. That's when you're taking the love from below. But when you're taking the love from above, that's a consistent, that's the idea, mamish, the idea matos and masei. It's interesting. You don't have to get the love from cham. That means you're not getting the chamimus, the heat, the excitement from the earthiness, from the 7 countries, Canaan, and so forth. Rak hakol milmaila. Instead, where are you getting the love from? The love is coming from above. Milmaila mebchenas olam hanal. It's coming from above the world. It's coming from a higher place. It's coming from above the olam. It's not coming from the 6 directions called world. It's coming from a spiritual light emanating from above. Shahatorah, and so where is it really coming from? It's explaining it's coming. Olam, in terms of spheros, we can say like this. The love that comes from the world, bisharshay, in its root, the source of the world, the source of the creation, are the 7 midas. Because how did God create the world? In 7 days. Also time, space, 6 directions, and the center point. So olam, world, is 7. So the love that comes from the world means that it originates in the 7 emotions. What did we say earlier? The 7 emotions, they had a shvira. They shattered. They fell into the world. They fell below into klipa. And our avodah is to extract these sparks of love from within this world and love God with that love. But then there's another love. It's not coming from below. I said before, it's coming from Aaron HaKohen. It's coming from the Torah. Torah brings us love. When a Yid learns Torah, automatically he's channeling love into his neshama. What's the Torah? The Torah is above the world. Say Torah, alpayim shana kadma Torah la'olam. The Torah is 2,000 years before the world. Obviously, we understand it doesn't mean 2,000 years in our count of time. It means 2,000 levels where the Torah is above the world. Because Torah comes from Chabad. Chabad is a level that's above the world. Chagas, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Nehim, the 7 emotions. That's the power of the world itself. Chabad is above the world. So this is a love that's coming from above, higher than the world. Torah is 2,000 years before the world. And when a Jew is learning Torah, he's not extracting something from below. When a Jew is learning Torah, he's channeling godly words from above into his neshama, and that's turning on his neshama. And here's an interesting thing. V'sham nemar gam came. And regarding to the Torah, it also says, Rishpeha rishpe esh. Her flames are flames of fire. That means godliness is fire. But you can encounter the fire in 2 ways. A fire coming down from heaven, which is Torah. Or you discover the sparks of holiness that are within the earth, and from there you create the fire. The fire coming from worldly things. The difference between Avas Olam and Ava Rabbah. Right? Okay. V'zehu hi b'chenas Eretz Yisroel. And this is the idea of Eretz Yisroel. Yarden is what? What did we go? Let's go back. Yarden is the border of Eretz Yisroel. What's the avoid of Yarden? The Indian of Yarden is extracting love from outside of Kedusha and bringing it into holiness. That's the idea of Yarden. Noitel mikan, v'noisen likan. It takes from here and it brings over there. It's more of a extraction kind of an Indian. Eretz Yisrael, however, is a place where the love flows from above. Following? Eretz Yisrael is more almo mailo lamata de Indian. When a Yid is in Eretz Yisrael, he's zoicha, or should be zoicha, to love coming from above. Ava Rabbah, great love descending upon his soul from above. B'chalal, in general, we know that the avoid of birur hanitzutzis, of elevating sparks, is more of an avoda that happens outside of Eretz Yisrael. That's why we went to Golos. We went to Golos to seek out the sparks of holiness that are far, to elevate. So Eretz Yisrael is not that avoda. But he does say that's the Yarden, the Jordan. It's by the border. And what does it do? It takes the spark and b'chalal. So maybe I'm saying this just as a possibility. I'm not sure, but I'm going to say this. We know that when Yidden, what happens if we wouldn't have sinned? How would we elevate the sparks everywhere? How would we elevate the sparks of Australia if Jews wouldn't have sinned and they didn't go to Australia? So how would we elevate? So it says, when you have a big fire, then it pulls the sparks even from a distance. It serves as a magnet and it pulls the sparks. So instead of us having to go down into the trenches to extract and excavate the sparks would be drawn by the mighty inferno of holiness that we create in Eretz Yisrael. So you can say, in a sense, that the Yarden at the border of Eretz Yisrael is actually the place kind of where these sparks that are being drawn. Eretz Yisrael itself is a fire from above. It's a powerful, godly illumination from above, where holiness and love and connection is being channeled milmaylo lamata through the Torah directly down. But the Yarden is these enhancements of love that are coming from outside of Eretz Yisrael and being converted into Eretz Yisrael, into the love, through what? Through the Yarden. V'zehu b'chinas Eretz Yisrael, and this is the idea of Eretz Yisrael. Einei Hashem Elokecha ba. In regards to Eretz Yisrael, now how do you know that Eretz Yisrael is a place in which the concept of Eretz Yisrael is a place in where divine love, godly fire is channeled from above down? Not the need to have to bring it out from the earth, but it's a place in which divinity is being channeled from above. Is the idea, as he said earlier, coming from the Torah. Where do we find that? It says, Hashem's eyes, Einei Hashem Elokecha, the Eibishter's eyes, are in it. Now the eyes, we know, are kinuyim for Chachma. The Chachamim are called Einei Ha'eda. So comes out, if we say that God's eyes are in the land, that means that the Eibishter's Chachma, which is the Torah, because Torah comes from the Eibishter's Chachma, is in it. So Eretz Yisrael is a place where divinity flows from above. Inspiration comes from above. It's not needed so much the avoid of extracting it from below. Eretz Yisrael, the eyes of God are from above. Because eyes are associated with Chachma, and that's why it's two eyes. Two eyes, because on Chachma it says 2,000 years the Torah was before the world. 2,000, these are the two eyes. I will teach you Chachma, I will teach you Bina. Which in general, these are higher than Shviras HaKelim. Remember, Shviras HaKelim only happened in the 7 Midos. And that's Be'ikr Shayach to the 70 nations and so forth. But Eretz Yisrael is a different thing. Eretz Yisrael is God's eyes, it's Ava Rabbah, it's love flowing from above. This love only comes from above. It's channeled from above. It's a purely spiritual kind of love. It's emanating from the neshama, not from the nefesh Bahamas. It's not a worldly, it's not something coming. Al Yadehu, who is the channel who channels heavenly love downward? Al Yadei Aaron, that's Aaron. Shoshvina de Matranisa. What's Aaron's job? We know that Moshe and Aaron were a team. To facilitate what? To facilitate a wedding. The wedding, when Hashem took the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim, the purpose was to go to a chasana. He wanted to marry us. God is the chasan, or we're the kala. Whenever you have a chasan and a kala, you need to have shushvinin. Who are the shushvinin? Shushvinin are called the unterführer, that's in Yiddish. And in English it means those who escort the chasan and a kala to the chuppah. So Moshe Rabbeinu is God's escort. He brings God down to us. Aaron is the one who lifts the Jewish people up to Hashem. He lifts the Jewish people up to God. But how does he lift us? He lifts us by channeling powerful godly love into our neshamas. And that's the idea. We know Aaron was the one who lit our balois chasaneiros, the neiros of the neshamas. So when Aaron comes to a Jew, he blasts him with powerful godly love. The Jew can't help but love God back. So that's balois. He ignites your soul. So it's a love being channeled from above. We also learned in other places, that's where you see it, even the word Aaron. Let's take a look at the word Aaron. The word Aaron, the etymology of the word Aaron is har. In the word Aaron, you have aleph, har, nun. Har, mountain. In Chassidus, we learned many times, love is compared to a mountain. Because what's love? A love is you're protruding out of yourself towards somebody or something else. There's like a pull towards something. That's love. That's like a mountain. A mountain is a protrusion outward. So har is love. Aleph is the source of where the love comes from. The love is coming from above God's mind. The love is coming from God's essential, infinite love. From Keter, from the crown. That's Aleph. Har is the mountain. And what's the long nun? Which is the love. So the har is the love itself. The aleph is the source from where it comes from. And where is the nun? The long nun represents that love goes down, 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 and it chases after every Jew, no matter how low the Jew is, even the Jew who goes below the line in the Torah. You know, and if you look at the Torah, there is the line. It means you're behaving according to Torah. Going below the line, like the nun goes down, 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 are people who are violating the Torah. And these people, you're chasing them with, like the Rebbe. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is the one person who was able to channel love and reach every single Jew, no matter how far. They make a difference. No tzaddik ever did that. To say, don't make a difference where you are, no matter how disconnected you are, even you're connected. That means to the long nun of Aaron, and how far does that nun go? Infinite. No matter how far a Jew goes, the nun chases them. And that's the long nun of the Aaron. So Aaron's Inyan is Avarabba, bringing down great love from above, that a Jew should feel that God loves him. And automatically that pulls the neshama into that embrace and into that love. Momaila comes from above, Aaron, through Aaron, Shushvina de Matrenusa, who is the escort of the bride. Hamamshich Avarabba, his job is to draw down great love, milmaila, from above, lematrenisa, to the queen, or to the kala. Who's that? That's Knesset Yisroel. Or, if we translate that into geographic location, Eretz Yisrael itself is called the Shechina. It's the land of Israel. And what comes down into the land? God's eyes. Hashem's eyes. That's the love. And like you see, sometimes a person looks at someone intently, and that's the strongest conveying of love, is through a deep staring at someone. Hashem's eyes looking down, those are the eyes coming through Aaron HaKohen's neshama to look, eyes upon the land. God's eyes upon the land. Hanal v'doik. Okay. V'af. Now, so what did we learn so far? There's two loves. There's love that's extracted from our nefesh habahamis, or from all the physical things that we come into contact with, which they all have potential to love. They all have heat. It's just a matter of converting that heat to holiness. That's worldly love. And then there's love coming, a different type of a fire. Fire from above and fire from below. But now the Rebbe adds, now the Alter Rebbe says, now even the love that is from within the world, milmata lamaila, that is coming from below up, loish lamaila loishenil kachas rak min ha'olam. You can't say it's only coming from the world. You can't say it's only a one-directional love. Meaning, these are things that when you incorporate them, boom, eat that apple and the apple will explode and you'll have love to God. It doesn't happen that way. Because if it would happen that way, automatically, so we wouldn't need avoda, and what would happen is that a Gentile who eats an apple would also explode with godly love. And for some reason, we don't see that a Gentile who eats an apple explodes with love to God. Not only that, sometimes the Gentile inside us doesn't either explode with love just because we ate an apple. Is a siman that the love doesn't just come from below. It's a mixture. You have a neshama. You're a holy Jew. Aaron is channeling the love inside of you constantly. When you, as a Jew, receiving that love that's constantly pouring into your neshama from above, is touching that apple, which that apple has that spark of Hashem inside of it, you have the opportunity to be able to ignite that spark that's in that apple, that the fire will come from the apple. The fire will come from the physical object, the food, the whatever it is that you used, the kedusha. But it does need a trigger. And the trigger is also coming from above. That's what he's saying. Now also the love that's from within the world, milmata lamayla, which is coming from below up. It's not just coming from the world. Shaharei, gamo umois oichlim, nations, Gentiles also eat, and they're not infused with powerful love of Hashem. A Jew, yeah, or a Jew should be that way, but a Gentile not. Is a siman that it's not just in the food. It doesn't get transformed to holiness. We have to say, there has to be a radiance coming from above, which is a neshama. A neshama is a channel of godliness. When that channel of godliness comes into contact with anything that has a spark, there is great chances that spark will be revived, like Tchias HaMesim. It's like doing CPR to this spark, and suddenly, bang, the spark comes alive, and then the spark itself will contribute love that you didn't have before, coming from below. That you should have the capability to be able to lift up these midos, which means these sparks, as we spoke earlier. Sparks come from different types of things. The midah that there is in cheesecake is different than that which is in jalapenos. Because you realize this is a sharp food, so this has more gevura, and this has more chesed. So it's a different type of a love, but it's from one of those zayin midas that are within the food. And this is the meaning of Vayered Hagvul hayardoina. What are we saying like this? Eretz Yisroel is love coming from above. But what does it say? That the border of Eretz Yisroel goes down to the Jordan. What does that mean? Jordan is the avodah of lifting things up from the bottom up. That's what we said before. The Gemara says that what does the Yarden do? Noitel mizeh, it takes from here, v'noitel mizeh. It's the avodah of milmata lamayla. It's the avodah of lifting things up towards kedusha. But in order for that to happen, there has to be a meeting from above as well. Some energy has to flow from above, or else you're not going to be able to elevate things. So that's the idea that Vayered Hagvul, the border of Eretz Yisroel, which Eretz Yisroel is love, goes down hayardoina into the Yarden to empower the Yarden to be able to lift things up. It's where the two loves meet. The love of the neshama, as a constant, has to be channeled into the nefesh habahamis and all these physical things in order to ignite them, in order to spark them. So Vayered Hagvul hayardoina umacha al ketef yam keneres kedma. Now, even though now he's explaining, however, the pasuk before that. Here it says Vayered Hagvul hayardoina. It seems like it's one pasuk, but it's not. It's the next pasuk. Vayered Hagvul. Before that, it says Vayered Hagvul umacha al ketef yam keneres. So what's that? Before it comes down to the Jordan, it says it hits the eastern shore of the Kinneret River. So what does that mean, Kedma, to the east? So now he's going to explain what is the Kinneret. So far we understood what the Jordan is. Now we'll learn what the Kinneret is. Kinneret is from the word kinor. Obviously it should have come to everybody immediately when you think about Kinneret. It's the feminine form, it's the female form of a kinor. David HaMelech played with a kinor. A kinor is a harp. A kinneret is a harp female harp. It's got the tuff at the end. So Kinneret, Masoik Kikinor. It is sweet. And I guess it's an expression maybe that Chazal also say. Why is it called Kinneret? The waters of the Kinneret are very sweet. Sweet waters. And they're sweet like a harp. When you hear music from a harp, it's very sweet, pleasant sounding. So the Kinneret is a very sweet experience. So there's a connection over here, sweetness. Now, once you're dealing with sweetness, if the Gemara says, if there's an expression in Chazal, that Kinneret is a masok, it's sweet, so you know that the energy of the Kinneret is not like the Yarden. The Yarden's energy is flames of fire. Its energy is gvura. It's to take from the unholy and put into the holy, extract the fire upward. The Kinneret is chesed, kindness. We know the difference between gevura and chesed. Gevura is an upward, is a from the bottom up, and chesed is a flow from up down, like kindness. It flows from the one who's on the top, the one who has, whether it's a rich man, whether it's any other kind of thing, a person that has, and he's flowing his energy to someone lower. So Kinneret is chasadim. And where is it coming from? Chasadim yotzei me'eden, which we know that the flow of chesed, if we look at the spheros, we see that chesed is on the right side. And where is its source? Chachma. When we take Chachma, Chabad, Chachma is on the right, Bina is on the left, Das in the middle. Chesed again on the right. So the right side is the flow of chesed. Where is it? It's coming from chesed, Chachma, and Chachma is called Eden. When Nohar Yotzei Me Eden, a river comes out of Eden. So this is the Kinneret is related to that river going out of Eden, sweet waters of Chasadim. That's the Kinneret. Now, over here, he doesn't give us much explanation on the Kinneret. Just one little thing, it seems to be very different than the Yarden. Jordan is an energy from below. It's more like water is coming out from below upward. The Kinneret is water coming from above. It's this chesed flow. Okay, but what does it say regarding to the Kinneret? When it says that it goes down to the Kinneret, Vayered Hagvul u'mocha. Before that it says, Vayered Hagvul mishvam harivla, from Shvam to Rivla, mikedem la'ayin. Before, from the east of the city called Ayin. So the Alter Rebbe says like this: the waters of the Kinneret, they are coming mikedem. Kedem can mean to the east. Kedem can also mean before. Kodem, before. So kedem la'ayin means before the level of ayin. What's ayin? Ayin is an eye. But ayin is also 70. The letter ayin is 70. So the root, the 7 midas, the root of the 7 midas is an ayin, the letter ayin. So that's. Oh, if we say this is mikedem la'ayin, what does it mean? It means higher than the root of the 7 midas. So where is the Kinneret coming from? The Kinneret, remember we said before, where do all the sparks of holiness come from? The sparks of holiness comes from Shviras HaKelim. Shviras HaKelim of what? Of the 7 midas. 7 midas, that's the 70, that's the ayin. Where do you have that ayin? Where do you encounter that ayin, the root of the 7 midas? When we say Shema Yisroel every day, the Shema has a large ayin. That ayin, that large Shema, that's the root where all the sparks of holiness come from. And we're bringing, when we say Shema Yisroel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad every day, what we're doing is all the sparks of holiness that we've encountered all day long that have been scattered, we're unifying them into their source, into that ayin. But the Kinneret waters come mikedem la'ayin. They come before the ayin. They're from a place higher than the ayin. Okay? And that has to do with, similar to what we were learning earlier, that Eretz Yisrael, Kinneret is in Eretz Yisrael. It's not like the Yarden. Yarden is serving as that border from here to here. The Kinneret is inside. And what is it? It's more a holiness coming from above, flow from, as he said before, Torah is before the world, before the 7 dimensions. And it's even higher than the eyes of Hashem that are in the land. Soon we're going to see about that in the Bia when he's going to explain it. Yam Kineres, Yam Ilah. The sea of the Kinneret is the supernal sea. Yam Ilah B'chinas Nekudim. It's the Bechina of Nekudim. So we'll soon see what that means. Nekudim Brudim Ya. Vayered, and the Yarden B'chinas Hareish Pechas Netzutzim. And the Yarden is the 288 sparks. Shebe Klipas Noiga, that is in Klipas Noga. Sheyardu B'Shvira, that have fallen down. So Yarden is related to that which fell and collapsed and needs rectification. And then, what's it called again? The Kinneret is way above that. Aval Sharsham Koidim Shvira, but their source before the Shvira, Sham Hu Sharshan. Now, if you think about it, even though the Yarden has the sparks of holiness that have fallen down, but hold it, where is the Yarden coming from? What did we say earlier? The Yarden flows from the Kinneret to the salty sea, to the Yam HaMelech. That means that the source of these sparks of holiness that are here is really from the Kinneret. So he's saying, V'sham aval sharsham koidim shvira, before the shvira sakelim, shamu sharsham, in the Yam Kinneret. U'bezeh hamshacha liyardein, and this is the hamshacha to the Yarden. Sheyuchol lahalois v'litol mezeh v'litin lezeh v'dai. From the Kinneret comes the power. It's the idea we learned earlier. That Aaron gives us the power to be able to elevate things from below as well. Similar to that, the Yam Kinneret, we said, is a place, it's above the Shvira. It's above the Savoda. Yarden is the Avodah of Birur Anitzutzis. Kinneret is above it. But in order for us to be able to rectify things, as we said earlier, a Gentile eats, he doesn't rectify anything, doesn't elevate, doesn't extract that fire. In order for the Yarden to have its power, it needs to receive, there is a flow from the Kinneret to the Yarden. Is enough to those who understand, and those who understand will understand. He says it twice, 2 times. So we don't have to feel bad if we don't understand. Okay, so Lavar Advarim. So now, based on all of this, let's try to explain, he says, what the matter is all about. Lavar Advarim be'inyan Vayered Hagvul. To understand this idea of what does it mean, Vayered Hagvul, Hine Gvul Daled Rucha is the Eretz Yisroel, the Gvul, the border of the 4 directions, the 4-direction border of Eretz Yisroel. Yashloima, we can say, Shehu Inyan Yud Beis Gvulei Alachsen Haniskar b'Sefer Yetzirah. Sefer Yetzirah, it mentions the idea of Yud Beis Gvulei Alachsen, of 12 Gvulim, 12 borders, Alachsen, which means also diagonal. Upirish in Yonam bePardes. So in Pardes he explains what is this idea of the 12 Yud Beis Gvulei Alachsen. Sharchof Aleph Perek Zayin. Shehem Gvul Mizrachis Roimis, Gvul Tzvainis Roimis, Gvul Mizrachis Tachtis, Gvul Mizrachis Tzvainis Ayin Sham. Gebakuk. We say there's Yud Beis Gvulei Alachsen. So here you have a cube. When you have, it's not exactly a cube, but you got something that is 3-dimensional. Okay? So let's see. How many Gevulim do you have? In a sense, you can say there are 4 Gevulim. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to be a little more, you can say there are 6 Gevulim, 6 borders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Gevulim. Really, a little more, paying a little more attention, we see there are 12 Gevulim. Why? You got this, the upper west side, that's west, right? The upper west, the lower west, it's 2. And then, so each side, first of all, so what do we have over here? And this is what side is that way? North. The upper north, lower north, upper east, lower east, south, and lower. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we have this border. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's another 4. That gives you 12. So these are the 12 borders that there are in anything. When it comes, however, to Eretz Yisrael, since Eretz Yisrael is a flat land, meaning you're not dealing with something like this, and when you're going to do the borders, you don't have these borders. All you have, that's why you end up only with 4. Because you don't have the lower of it and the upper, because if Eretz Yisrael would protrude up like a cube outside of the rest of the world, then you would be like a mound, then you can point to all 12. So really the 4 are really, in essence, they're 12. That's what he's saying. Pirish in Yonam Bepar, the Shachar Perek Zayin. So the Ramak in Sharchov Aleph Perek Zayin, Shem Gvul Mizrachis Roimis, the upper east, Gvul, Tzvainis Roimis, and then the northern upper side, Gvul Mizrachis Tachtis, and then the eastern bottom, Gvul Mizrachis Tzvainis, and then the Mizrach north, east-north, that's one of the corners I was showing you earlier, Ayin Shem. Now, even though in the physical Eretz Yisrael, it's not shaykh to say the upper side or lower. The shorish of these gevulos of Eretz Yisrael, nimshechu miyud beis gevulei alachs. In other words, the concept above has all 12 borders. These borders that the Torah says about Eretz Yisrael are really deriving from and connecting to those 12 borders that we spoke about now, all these things. Now, and that's why we find in Yecheskel, Choshev Yud Beis Gevulim. He counts in Yecheskel 12 borders, Bechilik Haaretz LeYud Beis Shvatim. When you divide the land to 12 tribes, Ukenoida, as it is known, the Yud Beis Shvatim, that the 12 tribes, Sharsham Gam came be Yud Beis Gevulei Alachs. So we learned that the 12 Shvatim are also rooted in these 12 Gevulei Alachs, which is basically the ultimate borders of all of space. Okay? So you think about it, if the Jewish people have 12 tribes, that means the Jewish people are the borders of all of space. All of space. The concept of space is all Israel. The Jewish people encompass all of space. It's a cool idea. 12 Shvatim, because we're 12. Today's a shift in Today's in Tchumen, the Ilani Allah Kadisha, that the supernal tree, Behu Achtum B'chasmayim, are sealed with them. Elon Echad Yesh. What does that do with a tree? It says over there in Paradise, Elon Echad Yesh Lo Kadosh Baruch Hu. God has one tree. Now, by the way, let's just explain something. The tree is referring to the 6 emotions. The Ze'er Ampin is called a tree. Eitz Chayim, it's a tree. So that's 6. And that's related to the 6 directions. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes. And again, in each one, there is an up and a bottom. And then there's the corners where the 2 meet. Ugevul Tchum inyan echadu. Ugevul and Tchum is one idea. V'atam shenikra b'shem gevulim utchumim. And the reason why they're called gevulim and tchumim, why are they called borders? What's this idea? These 12 gevulim are the hiskalalus. They are the integration of it's where the different ktsavos, the various different midos blend one with each other. Shemashisha midos chagas nehi. It's the 6 midos of chagas and nehi. Kishemeskalalim zem, when they become nichlal, when they become interlooped and interwoven one with the other. Kamoyeskalus achsadim begevurais. When chesed and gevura unify together. Or Yiskalal is Gevura Benetzach. Or we're Gevura. Think about it. When you have a line, a border, what's really happening? It's connecting this side with this side. This border is connecting this side also with this side. This border is connecting the bottom and the top. And so each border is a connection, a point, a junction. So if you take them as 6 spheres, and then the spheres attach one with each other, Chesed connects with Gevura, or Gevura with Netzach, that creates all these various different Gevulim. כשמשקלם זה עם זה, כמו ישקל ססוד מגור זה ישקל סגורי בנצח, או ישקל לסקאבין, כי חכן, קו ימין, חסד, חוכמה חסד, נצח is on the right side. ובגע בינה גבורה הויד, קו שמאל is on the left side. וישקל ללוסון, how do you connect the energies from the right to the energies of the left? While they gevule yalachsen, these to the gevulim. V'skala lozu einoi be'etzem ha'oyer. Now this is skalalus, he says, is not in the essence of the light itself, of the energy of chesed, for instance. Ki ha'oyer or pashut, the or is a simple light, and therefore, in a sense, you can say that the light of chesed and the light of gevura are really the same. Eluai the yislapshus ha'oyeros bekelim. It's when the oiros are mislabish bekelim. Shal yedei zen islabish chesed begvura oy benetzach. And that's how there is an eskalalus that happens. Kefi seder anoga, according to this seder, according to this order. V'nei ha'kelim, what do the kelim do? Hamagabilim es ha'oyer. The idea of a keli, of the vessels, is to contain the light. Sha'or nigabal bekeli, the light becomes defined in the keli, in the vessel. Hein mitzat sha'oiru poshit. Number one, the light is simple. So if the light is simple, meaning it's undefined, but when you're putting it into a keli, the keli gives it a definition. So that means it gives it a boundary. V'nigbal bekeli liyos mechayu mahava kli achesed. It's not imke na keli magbilosai. So the keli gives it definition and therefore limitation. Hein sha'oiru b'chenas ein soif. 2 reasons. First of all, because the oir is pashut, and pshitus means it's simple. It's abstract. It doesn't have any definitions to it. Number 2, it's limitless. The light, it's ein sof. So therefore, the keli adds 2 things. It adds hagabala in terms of definition. It's not pashut anymore. It's now red or yellow or green or blue and so forth. Number 2, it's adding limitation. The keli influences the light, that the light should only, the energy should only influence in a limited fashion. So we know that how Hashem created a limited world, not an infinite world. And since this main hiskalalus, this integration of chesed with gevura, or gevura with netzach and the like, is through the oiros being mislabish in kelim dafke. The ilu or mitzad atzmayu or pashut is simple light. L'chein nikre yud beis gevulim. That's why they're called yud beis gevulim, because this is where the kelim, which the kelim are all about gevul, are impacting the most. The keli is now playing a role. And what is the keli doing? It's causing hagbala. What kind of hagbala? Well, it's creating a certain blend of 2 spheres to give it that particular style or that particular influence and so forth. That's why these yud beis are called gevulim, because the whole eskalalus, the whole idea of yud beis is eskalalus, integration. And integration only happens through kelim. And what do kelim do? They're magbil. They limit. Or yud beis tchumim. They're also called the 12 boundaries. Hainu hagabalas. These are all limitations. Sha'or nigabal bekelim. The or becomes limited in the keli. Or miskalalim, and they become integrated liyud beis gevulim, and then they become 12 boundaries. Yud beis tchumim. 12 tchums. 12 particular areas. This is it. Masha kasav azayah dahoyelani ilah kadisha pu achtem bechasmai yesh lefarshay. Ach yoyse yesh loymar ki chilif oisias yeshka. We can explain what the Zohar says. It's a strange passage in the Zohar that this tree becomes achtim b'choismayu, becomes sealed with this chosem. V'tzarech loymar itchem b'tchumayu, not aschem, not sealed, but rather itcham b'tchumayu shkoyach. It becomes itcham. It becomes it gets a tchum. It gets a boundary with their with these boundaries. V'apidish kanal, because the tree itself is an energy emanating from God, which would be Ein Sof. But since it's going into the kelim, and the kelim are miskalalim with the other, it's giving definition and boundaries and so forth. Yud beis b'chinos elu hem gam kein inyan yud beis tzirufei havaya. These yud beis, these 12 boundaries, are also the idea of the 12 tzirufim, the 12 combinations, permutations of havaya. The yud beis tzirufei adna. We know that every hour there's a different tziruf, there's a different combination of yud ke vav ke. 12 hours of the day is the yud beis tzirufei havaya. 12 hours of the night is the yud beis tzirufim, 12 permutations of the name adna. That's how the Alter Rebbe, when he was in jail, knew what time it was, even though they kept him in pitch black the entire day, was because he was able to sense what the tziruf is. Every hour is a different tziruf. These different tzirufim, every hour, time and space are interlocked. So just like in space, there are the 12 boundaries. So in time also, it translates into these different combinations of letters, which is this translates into time as 12 months. So today is Rosh Chodesh. We enter into a new tziruf, a new Yud Kei Vav Kei, particularly for this month. Shebachol Chodesh, and every Chodesh, Mekablim Knesses Yisroel. Knesses Yisroel, we are Mekabel from a different tchum, from a different boundary. Just like a different boundary in space in Eretz Yisroel, we're also being Mekabel from a different tziruf. Knesses Yisroel, Tziruf Echad Ma Yud Beis Tzirufei Havaya. From one of the tzirufim, of the 12 tzirufim of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And that's what creates the unique energy of the month. Every month has different energy. Av has its unique energy. Hopefully going to be turned over very soon to the happiest month. And so on. Every month has its unique quality, its unique season. Because it's seasoned differently. It's seasoned differently. The months are seasoned differently. Some months are salty and peppery. Other months are more cinnamony. And so on and so forth. Every month has its different style, different a sense to the month. Why? It depends which midos of the Eibishter are flowing and the main dominant element of that month. When Chesed unifies with Hoid, Shazeu Gvul Doroimis Tachtis. The bottom side of Dorim is Chesed with Hoid. Now, how do you get that? Well, Chesed is south, that we know. Hoid, why is it called? Now, it's the bottom side. Remember, we said before, in a cube, you have the bottom. So the bottom, why is that Hoid? Chesed with Hoid. Why is the bottom emphasizing Hoid? I'm not exactly sure. Not sure. Chesed flows down, but why Dafke is it crossing over to the other side? Where do you see the crossing over to the other side, to the left side? You might say Chesed to Netzach, but he's saying it's crossing over on the other side. Where do you see that in the Tachtis of? I'm not sure. Now, that translates down here into a unique kind of an energy in our Avodas Hashem. The Knesses Yisroel to Knesses Yisroel. La Avodas Hashem, to serve our Hashem, b'bchinezu, in this level. That we should be able to integrate our love with submission. The love is a blend of submissive love. Now, when Gevura unifies with Hoid, Shazau Gevil Tzvaynes Tachtes, that's the Tzafein. Tzafein is north, is Gevura. The bottom is Hoid. Again, Hoid. He's saying the Tachtes is always Hoid. That's interesting. So it's the connection of Gevura with Hoid. You have submissive fear, which is hoid together with yira. And this is the way it is in all the midos. So when Jews live in different areas of Eretz Yisrael, it means their service is different. Jews who live up north serve Hashem differently than the Jews who live down south. It's a different energy. Their very home is in a different energy, in a different space. That's why they're living. And that's the reason also why I live on 158 South Detroit Street, and the other neighbor of mine lives on 158 North Detroit. So his avodah is more of a tzafa in diga avodah. My avodah is more south. Because my name is Reuven. Reuven has to do with re'iyah, with vision, chesed. I'm a kohen, also chesed. And that's why I live on south, because south is chesed. The people who live north from Beverly, they're much tougher people. I don't deal with them. I only deal with the people who live south. That's the avodah. In any case, I'm just kidding. But you see, people live, your address, your place you live, they all speak volumes. There's a lot of secrets to that. No one just moves in somewhere just like this. Yeah. Now what's the shayrish? What's the root of these 12 gevulei alachs? They come from very, very high. They translate into Malchus, which is time and space. Now, above Malchus, they're 12 concepts, but they're not really time and space. When they come down in Malchus, that's where they translate as time and space. They translate lower than Malchus into the 3 lower worlds, Bri, Yitzir, Nasi. This is the idea of Vayered Hagvul. The Gevul, which is the concept of the Yud Beis Tzerufei, Yud Kei Vav Kei Yarad, it comes down into lower existence and it materializes into a shetach, into a plot of land, into a space in this world. So that's the idea of Vayered Hagvul. The Gevulim come down into the lower and they impress themselves in a lower existence. And down here they become, what down here is physical space, is up there a certain style and concept. That's what I'm saying? Here it becomes formulated as mamish mikedem la'ayin. What does it mean mikedem la'ayin? From east of ayin. Look at Isa B'Zayir Seif Parshas Vayishlach. Tereisar de Iskasya. There are 12 that are covered up. Kamoshakasam makam achar sham. Sheshar sham mit teferes de erech anpin. Their root is from teferes of erech anpin. Shehem amidois shalamayla ma'achachma v'abina. We know that midois. Okay, so what are we learning over here? The whole idea of these Yud Beis Gevulei Alachsen have to do with the 6 midois when they connect one to each other. Scholars. But what's really the root of the midos? We learned this many times in Chassidus, that the root of the midos are higher than Chabad, even though they are stimulated, and Chabad is considered appearance. The Chachma bin Adas is considered appearance to the emotions, but that's not really their source. The root of emotions are rooted higher than intellect, higher than mind. And that's the meaning, mikedem la'ayin. They're really higher than ayin. Ayin are the 2 eyes, which are Chachma and Bina. They're higher than that. The Abba ve'ima, until we say even that Chachma and Bina malbishem oisa. They enclose them. That means the energy of the midos as they stand in Keser are much higher than Chachma and Bina. Shehem rak levush. They're considered only an outer garment, the midos elu to these midos. V'shamu tachlis v'amitis hayiskalalus. And that's really where they are integrated one with each other. These midos. Then later they manifest in a lower place. And from there they descend into the 12 Gevulei Alachsen, the Zah of the Ze'er Anpin. Until they manifest in Malchus as the 12 Shvatim and so forth. It hits on the eastern shore of on the shore of Yam Kineres, to translate into an experience of love, a love of pleasure, like we lived, We learned earlier, when we were learning earlier, I mentioned to you that Kinneret comes from the word kinor, and kinor, when you hear a kinor, you're filled with a sense of sweetness. So Kinneret is the sense of, Kinneret is the idea of the sweetness, so it's the idea of tanugim, pleasure. Sweetness is the pleasure, the delight. And so the Hagvul comes down to create this ava betanugim, this love of delight. Why? What's the connection of this Hagvul to the Kinneret River, to the Kinneret Sea, to produce this idea of ava betanugim, love of delight? Again, the Kinneret is very different than the Jordan. The Jordan River is a river of fire. It's rishpe eish. Kinneret is Maayon, water, delight, pleasure. It's a very pleasurable place. So it says over there, it says over there, I ate my forest and my honey. The Zohar says that when Hashem says, I ate my honey and my forest, it's Hashem's breakfast. What's Hashem's breakfast? Hashem has a salad with honey mustard. Where do you see that? It says in the pasuk. His forest, he eats his forest. Hashem is going to have a big salad, so he eats his forest. The forest, it says, is all the malachim. When the malachim sing shira, they're raising sparks, and they're called the trees. So Hashem eats them. These are sparks. These are malachim that become integrated in God. Sparks that become, that means he's eating it. Just like when we eat, we integrate things that are outside of us into us. So Hashem too absorbs these sparks of the malachim, they go up. What's the honey? The honey is amongst the song of the malachim. The malachim are vast. The malachim are endless. You know how many angels there are? They're singing powerful. And then there's a few Jews down here who daven as well. We say Kriya Shema. And here's the beautiful. You ever have a salad? You ever have a salad? Have a salad. You eat salad. Most of it is salad. But if they forgot to give the dressing, it's like doesn't have the pleasure. How much pleasure do you put onto it? How much dressing do you put? Take a spoon, put it on, sprinkle it on. It's only a little bit, but it gives the whole taste. So it says like this, every morning all the malachim are singing to God. There's the huge forest that God consumes. The calories the Eibishter gets from them. Sorry for saying that, but that's just what it is. You learn more Chassidus, we understand that, but that's what it is. But where does the Eibishter get his pleasure? The pleasure comes from the Shema Yisroel that Jews say. That's called the honey. The honey, because we're Hashem's honey. We're his wife, so he says honey. So we're the honey, we're the sweet, and we give the salad, we give the forest the taste. So B'kiyam echad v'ahavta. When we say echad v'ahavta, and what kind of love is that? That's ava betanugim, that's love of delight. There's two types of love in v'ahavta. One love of v'ahavta is it's a love of yearning. There's a different type of a love. When a person, because there's two ways when a person, two reactions to Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. If a Jew is distant and far, and he's still caught up in Nefesh HaBahamis, in a web of darkness, so when he says Echad, and he meditates on Echad, he appreciates God's unity, and he's yearning, he wants, but he doesn't feel it. He wants to become part with one. That's fiery love. But there's another type of a Jew, a tzaddik. His reality, he's completely already gotten rid of all the darkness. So when he says echad, he's actually living inside the echad, and he's suddenly overtaken with a powerful sensation of ecstasy and delight. That's ava b'tanugim. And that's the echad that we're talking about over here that serves as honey. Yari, because it's sweet. It's not fire, it's sweet. Now this level is called the Masei. It's called sweet like a kinnor. B'chinas divshi. And the Kinneret is that kind of an experience. Those who live by the Kinneret are living in ava b'tanugim, love of delight. Maybe that can be the reason why so many tzaddikim wanted to be buried in Tiberias, because that's where the Kinneret is. Tzaddikim dafka, because they were in this level of ava b'tanugim. Kinneret is sweetness. Yarden is still dealing with the tanginess of converting things. This love comes from above. Aaron through Aaron. As again, this is your side. Shoshvina de Matrinusa. He's the Shoshvina de Matrinusa. He channels this love of the light from above. He Kamasha Kasava Pasik Vasisa Big Day Kodesh La Aaron. Like we learned in the Maayon of Vasisa Big Day Kodesh. Sha'av Vizu Nimshach Mepchinas V'Rav Chesed. This love comes from the level called Rav Chesed, which is in Keser. It's the Chesed, the love that's boundless. Shalamaylam Mepchinas Chesed Oilam. It's higher than the Chesed coming from the world, which is limited love. This is what it says over here. Sha'av Vizu Mepchinas Shalamaylam Mepchinas Oilam. V'Kedum Ola Oilam. It's higher than the world before the world. The Oilam Aina Vav K'tzavois Chesed Oilam. That's the Oilam is world is the 6 boundaries. This comes from a place beyond that. It's compared to a kinar. Why is it compared dafka to a kinar, to a harp? Isa b'tikunim, because it says in Zohar, Soif Tikun Esrim, in the end of the Tikun Zohar of 20, Piddish Halaluka, and the Piddish of Halaluka, it says, Halaluka b'nevel v'chinor. Praise him with a nevel and a chinar. Kinar, so it says over there, the Zohar says, Kinar stands for Chavav Ner, 26 Ner, the lamp of 26. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Iyu Havaya, now Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's 26. The Itmar Hashem Oiri V'Yishi, Nohir B'Ner, the Iyu Shchinta. What's Kinar? Kinar is a unification between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina. Ner, the Shechina is called a Ner, a lamp. Havaya, Chavav, is Havaya. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When Hashem, when Yud Kei Vav Kei shines in the Shechina, it's Kinor, Chavav, Ner. That's why David HaMelech, who is the Shechina, is always playing on a Kinor. He's always trying to draw down the 26 into Pashtas. When you will ignite the lamps, which means you will bring down his galos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu of into the Ner through the Chavav. And through this radiance, the kinnor plays on its own. It says by David HaMelech that David HaMelech didn't have to play. The wind played his kinnor. So what does that mean? When the or of Yud Kei Vav Kei shines into Ner, when you have this yichud, the kinnor plays on its own. It's the malchus going up. It's malchus being the skala lamayla. V'chol ha'aliyos hu al-yedei shir. I'm going to go back to the pasuk v'shem achav yovel hu avi kol teifes kinar. I'm going to go back to Piddish anu lavai b'toida zarma l'lekeinu b'chinar. Piddish ali asev ali novel ayin shom v'zay b'shem. Shat chel v'zudam v'lozim. Kineres. Hold on. Okay, let's take a break because I have no idea what I'm talking about over here already. As I told you, I didn't even learn this ever. I'm just looking at it for the first time right now. Maybe we can figure out more of it. But first, we need to take a break a minute. I'm so tired. Hashem should help. It's gewaldig in Yonim. Gewaldig in Yonim. But I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's still gewaldig. Yossi, how are you? Take care. Bye-bye. Wow. Wow. Looks awesome. It looks awesome, but I don't understand anything. Okay, everyone, till here we're going to learn. Because I don't understand anything. Then we're going to finish the rest next week. Yeah. Next week we're going to finish this because we have to learn the Hagvul of Eretz Yisroel. So next week we're going to finish this whole Inyan. It's really, really awesome.